roast turkey for Christmas. Normally there will be the giblets. In this case, because it's a small bird, they've only got the neck in there. This one goes into a pot with all the trimmings, you know, your leftover onion, the celery, that goes into a pot with water, and we make it into a soup. We tuck the wings in underneath. See this skin here? Turn it around. Take a lidi and I just hold it in place. So I push this back into that cavity there and bring the legs to meet together like this again. Ina, she's going to work on the mince pie, which is actually our Malaysian version, which is the mince puff. We do it like a curry puff filling. So there are two parts of it, the dough and the filling. So now Ina will help us with the dough. 2 parts of flour and 1 part margarine, a little bit of water and a little bit of salt. Just crumble the flour and the butter together. Once that's nice and grainy, she adds in the salted water just to bring it together. The original filling would use things like suet, which is an animal fat. In our case, we're just using some margarine, mixed fruits, brown sugar, and I purposely use a little bit of the mango juice. The butter, the sugar, and a little bit of this to melt it down, and I made it into caramel. The mixed fruit goes in, we add the breadcrumbs. So now, as Ina mixes it together, I add this in. It's really a standard curry puff, but made with this kind of filling. Something that all Malaysians know, they recognize, and I think it's easy for the housewife to make this. All of you, I'm sure, have done this at home in making a curry puff. Same thing, just a different filling. In this particular case today, we decided to do a fruit and bread stuffing. So here we go. I've cut up the fruit. It could be anything. This one is pears and apple, banana to make it local. And I will add the bread. We are making it like a bread pudding almost, but this is a savory bread pudding. Banana just now is mushy enough for us to just smash it like that. Cream to wet it. Let me get a bit of milk. I add in an egg. I'm going to put in some nuts. Don't make it too fine. You want to be able to feel the nuts, not just taste them. Next, I'm going to put in a little bit of meat here. Just going to use our local frankfurters, onion and garlic. And finally, it will be the herbs. Salt, a little bit of pepper, thyme, some chicken powder. To Malaysianize it even more, a bit of chili. Well, if y'all can't take it, don't. This again, I would say, is optional, yeah? I want to add some butter to moisten it further. Grease the casserole and we can pour the mixture in. This will go in the oven. It doesn't have to go in now because the turkey will take 2.5 hours. I would estimate something like this would be about less than an hour and it's done. With the roast, traditionally we have roasted vegetables with it. I prefer not to roast the vegetables because sometimes that dries it out as well. In this case, I'm going to boil the vegetables first, drain it, and then toss it with the juices from the turkey, and then do a final a second roasting just to glaze it a little bit. I just use some small sweet potato. You can cut it up into smaller bits, but I prefer to leave it as single so that your guests can just take one piece as their portion. Carrot, pumpkin, things like the mushrooms and all that will just very quickly they will cook. So I'm going to say that the celery can go in with the pumpkin. That only takes about 10 minutes maximum. That will go into the water that I'm going to boil. So now inside the water, normally you always add in a little bit of salt and it'll go onto the flame. Get it cooked, drain it, and then we put all of it together in a bowl. When everything is ready from the turkey, we just pour in some juice, toss it, taste that it is okay, and put it back in the oven again. So that last half an hour in the oven, it'll come out very nice. Traditionally, the turkey is served with things like, apart from the gravy, which in our case, we're going to make a gravy with mushrooms. So we make a mushroom sauce. This recipe I'm going to show you today is just a simple bread sauce. You use white part of the bread. This is fresh bread that I blended. We've got butter, we've got cream, we've got milk, and the milk is flavored with onions and cloves. I'm going to strain it so that you take out the onions and the cloves, from that mixture. What we have in here is the flavored milk with butter, and the British, they just add in breadcrumbs till you get a smooth mixture. Add in the cream, add in a bit of salt, and I use a little bit of nutmeg. So that's all it is. A simple bread sauce that you would serve last. That means this is really the last thing that you would do just before you serve the thing, because you like to serve it warm. To make the sauce, I add butter, flour, melt it and make it into what we call a roux. We want to make it into a slight brown roux, so you can let the flour brown color. You see the color is starting to pick up. A little bit of onion that I will slice very finely. A little bit of garlic. All of this goes back into that same pot, and we'll add in the stock into this after that. Just leaving it at the blonde stage. Into this, you would add your stock, cook it until it thickens again. I'm going to add in all of that juices from here. With these mushrooms, well, doesn't have to be too small, doesn't have to be too big. The button mushrooms with the brown mushrooms, I'm going to cut them a little bit smaller. With that mushrooms, it goes into the sauce. We season the sauce, the usual salt, pepper, and a bit of thyme. The roux mixed with the drippings and the stock and made it into this nice velvety sauce. Now that it's boiled, I'm putting in the mushrooms, and that will just go back to boil. And finally, the seasoning. I add a bit of thyme now, a little bit. My chicken stock, a little bit of black pepper, and a touch of salt. And that's it, ready to be served. This has rested for already more than 20 minutes. If you do not wait and you cut it straight away without resting, what happens is all the juices will just flow out. Okay, so we've gone through the whole process. We've now got our turkey done. We carved it on the board. I laid it out into this Pyrex dish, and we're ready to eat. Would you all like to join me for some makan? Oh, Christmas! So here we go.
Is it possible for like a housewife to cook this easily without any hassle?
I think from what you saw just now, because these are self-basting and because there was that little thermometer device just now, it's so easy. You just watch the thermometer, you don't have to count how many hours or what. When the fella pops, it's done.
How much of this whole dish is Malaysian?
All of it, apart from buying the bird from overseas, the way that we had done it just now with the kind of vegetables, it's not expensive. It is done affordable. It's done that everyone can make.
Would you get it off books? Would you come up?
With all food, it's always researching. We're always reading and seeing what other people are doing. And then we just create something based on what I like to do is create something that is different and also do something that is local. You try the salad. You haven't had the salad yet. I only put in 4 chilies.